The Time Traveler's Legacy Part 1. The Discovery. Dr. Evelyn Turner had always been a woman of relentless curiosity and ambition. Her life's work centered around the enigmatic concept of time travel, a subject that had intrigued her since she was a child. Countless late nights in her cluttered basement laboratory had led to this moment. The lab was an eclectic mix of modern technology and ancient relics. Papers and diagrams were strewn about haphazardly, and a massive chalkboard covered in equations dominated one wall. In the center of the room stood her crowning achievement, a gleaming chrome-plated machine that resembled a peculiar blend of a satellite dish and a vintage telephone booth. This was her time machine, a prototype she had spent the last decade designing, building, and refining. On this particular evening, with a storm brewing outside, Evelyn felt an unexplainable surge of confidence. She had made the final adjustments to the machine's complex array of switches, levers, and dials. The time was right to conduct her first human test. Evelyn, a middle-aged woman with wild graying hair and an aura of scientific determination, donned a lab coat and safety goggles. She knew the risks. Her calculations indicated that the experiment could result in her disappearance or, worse, her irreparable disintegration. But she couldn't resist the allure of discovery. With her heart pounding and palms sweating, she stepped into the machine. The door closed behind her, sealing her inside the capsule-like chamber. She adjusted the settings, inputting a date from the past, and activated the machine. There was a blinding flash of light, and the room around her seemed to dissolve into a swirling vortex of colors and sounds. Her senses were overwhelmed as she felt herself being pulled through time and space, and then, as abruptly as it began, it ended. Evelyn staggered out of the machine, disoriented and blinking against the sudden brightness. She looked around, realizing that her surroundings had drastically changed. She was no longer in her cluttered basement lab. Instead, she stood in the midst of a dusty, sun-soaked village in ancient Egypt. Curious villagers in linen robes and sandals gaped at her, their expressions a mix of awe and fear. Evelyn had successfully traveled through time, but as the realization hit her, a new and unsettling thought gnawed at her. How would she ever get back to her own time?